Americans, what do you generally mean when you say you're getting coffee? Black cappuccino can't cost 10, can it? Looking at my Dunkin' app, a large mocha iced signature latte with all the fixings and the max extra swirls is 5.59 tax. A large black coffee is 2.69 tax. So yeah, they can climb depending on what you get. The only people I hear talk about 10 coffees are boomers conservatives complaining about how millennials spend too much money on frappuccinos and avocado toast. If you are going to Starbucks and getting some complicated, specialty sugar bomb, then I imagine the price could creep closer to 10. But for most people, when they say, "I'm getting coffee," they probably mean a regular coffee or cappuccino. Maybe something with flavoring if they are feeling sassy. No, a large Starbucks coffee is 6-7 for example. And most other places charge less, so if you are paying 10-15 you are getting scammed. Correction, you never hear Americans talking about spending 10-15 on a single coffee. That doesn't happen. It's more like 4-6. No one spends that much on coffee. That's just rich people talking down on everyone else. They are more often mixed with different milks, flavors and have added shots of espresso which run 1-2 per shot. I live in DC, for reference, a pretty high cost of living area. You'll use a fairly expensive chain, Tat, as an example. Tat is a regional chain that started in Boston and has pretty good coffee pastries, but is definitely pricier, so I think it gives a good sense of the upper bound of traditional coffee drinks. Here are some of their prices. Drip coffee, 16 Oz, 3.75 double espresso, 3.50 cappuccino, 8 Oz, 4.75 latte, 16 Oz, 5.25 iced americano, 16 Oz, 3.75 note, 16 Oz equals 473 ml, 8 Oz equals 237 ml. A 10 drink is going to be something very elaborate. Playing around on the Starbucks app just now to see a venti 24 Oz mocha cookie crumble frappuccino with 3 extra shots of espresso will run 10.20. So I'm not even sure what one would have to do to get a 15 drink. I'd say it depends on the context. If my friends ask me to grab coffee, it could literally mean just coffee. But it can also mean catching up on a fruit tea and a green tea crepe cake. Also, iced drinks such as lattes generally run over 6-7, and any additions, oat milk, extra shot, etc. can take it up to 9-10 sometimes. People really need to stop reading something and then assuming all Americans are doing it. 2.2 at the local store. Large. They are espresso drinks, most commonly extremely sweet latte variants. Hahaha. No. Coffee is not nearly that expensive. My venti black coffee at Starbucks this morning was 3.65. I don't even know where to find a 10 coffee, let alone 15. Americans spend 6-8 on large milkshakes disguised as coffee, so they can ignore the fact that they are drinking a milkshake in the morning. An actual black coffee is usually 2.5 to 4.2 depending on where you go. I don't know anyone who spends that much on coffee. Often if I'm going to a coffee shop to get coffee, it's not going to be black drip coffee, but an espresso-based drink that I can't really make at home. My favorite is a spicy latte with oat milk, and it's 7 for a 12-ounce cup. If someone is spending 10 on a coffee, they aren't getting a coffee. They are getting a non-alcoholic cocktail from a coffee shop that might contain a little bit of coffee somewhere in the recipe. A regular coffee, whether drip, clover, espresso, whatever from a snobby coffee house, will basically max out at around 6. Starbucks it's like 4. Fast food 3. Diner it's 2. If someone talks about a 10 coffee, it's going to be an absurd beverage that took some effort to prepare, probably with some extras on top. It's 20 ounces of sugar and cream-filled cake batter with a hint of coffee, and a half dozen modifications and additions that jack up the price. People that want real coffee brew it at home or go to a legitimate coffee shop and pay 4-5 for a regular good cup. 8-12 Oz of coffee. As a Canadian, at Starbucks I can get a venti latte with an extra shot of espresso for 7.82. I don't think I've ever spent more than 8 on a coffeelette. Drip coffee is significantly cheaper. A large cold brew from Tim Hortons is 3.20. If it was as high as 10 I wouldn't buy it. I rarely get Starbucks, but did the other day. I got a large cappuccino. It was around 5.35 YERK.